This Buttermere circular walk in the Lake District must be one of the best lake walks in the Lake District National Park, if not in the UK. The views are stunning from the very start and the mainly flat paths make it accessible for most. Before we start, let's have a look at where we're walking today. We initially head down to Buttermere's north shoreline to reveal this view down the full length of the lake down to Fleetwith Pike. Then, on to the close by Sourmilk Gill. Before heading down the western shore of Buttermere, which also affords delightful views back across to the mountains rising from the eastern shore of Buttermere. As we round the southern shore, it provides views up to Haystacks and Fleetwith Pike. The return leg up the eastern side of Buttermere is a little rougher underfoot in places and more undulating, but still provides magnificent views back across to Fleetwith Pike and Haystacks, and then round to High Crag, Stile and Red Pike, all rising from the western shore. Stay watching until the end to see where you can eat and drink after the walk. We are starting today's walk from the Buttermere Court Hotel, previously the Fish Inn. There is a plain display car park down to the right of the Buttermere Court Hotel and also a National Trust car park at Buttermere, with further parking available halfway around the walk at Gatesgarth. If you are eating and drinking at the pubs, they also have additional parking which you may be able to use, but best check in with them first. We initially head down the side of the Buttermere Court Hotel and pass through the Kissing Gate and then along the gravelled track. Over to the left you can see the mountains encircling Buttermere Lake. It's -4 today and not far off the shortest day of the year, so the sun isn't going to rise a great deal more. Keep on the gravel track as it bends around to the left. And then, at a footpath sign, follow the Buttermere quarter-of-a-mile sign to follow the gravel track through a gate. Pass through the next gate by the National Trust Buttermere sign to head straight on to soon arrive at the north shore of Buttermere. The lake today is very still, giving us these wonderful reflections here looking down the lake to Fleetwith Pike and Haystacks to the right. This walk is one you can do over and over again, as the views through the trees with and without leaves and at the different times of day and throughout the seasons vary greatly. Head along the shoreline and then around to the right and over the wooden bridge. There's not really a lot of detailed directions needed today, so we'll keep stopping a little more often than normal for the views. Keep walking straight on, and then for a very short detour, head around to the right and through the gate to head a few yards up to have a look at the bottom of Sourmilk Gill from the wooden bridge. The water coming down Sourmilk Gill is the outflow from Bleaberry Tarn, about a kilometre up the hill. Looking around and away from Buttermere here, you can see in the sun on the left hand side Melbreck, which is on the western side of Croftwater. If you took this short detour, head down to and pass through the wooden gate and then on to rejoin the main path, turn right and head over the wooden bridge to then pass through the next gate. The path up into the trees on the right here heads up to Bleaberry Tarn and then on up to Red Pike. We will just continue on though along the lakeside, mainly flat, gravelled path. If you enjoy these videos, please click the like button, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you know when any new walks have been uploaded. It's free to subscribe and your likes and comments really do help our channel. Keep stopping from time to time to take in the ever-changing vista, a photographer's dream on a day like this with the reflections in the water. You can see across to High Crag and then around in the direction of Grasmoor and Ranadale Knots. Buttermere, the lake, is 1¼ miles long, 1/4 mile wide at its widest and 75 feet deep. There are two trains of thought on its name derivation. The first is that Buttermere comes from Old English and literally means the lake by the dairy pastures. The second is that it dates back to an 11th century Norse chief called Buthar. Many Lake District land features do actually derive their names from Norse words from when the Vikings settled here in the 9th century. On our website, the route of today's Buttermere walk is set out on an Ordnance Survey map along with a GPS download for your phone or GPS device. The link to our walks for our website is in the description below. At one point the path splits. You can take either path, but the lakeside one, although a little rougher, affords the better views. They rejoin each other in a short while. This lakeside path presents a more open panorama down to Fleetwith Pike and all the way around to Melbreck on the western side of Croftwater. Continuing on, the alternative path joins us from the right. On exiting the trees of Burtness Wood, pass through the wooden gate and then continue along the gravelled path. Now out of the trees, the panorama is a 360 one. Up to the right you can see High Crag over Coombeck waterfall and then around to High Stile. You can see down the length of Buttermere towards Grasmoor and then around towards Robinson and then finally Fleetwith Pike and Haystacks. From the next wooden footbridge you get a better view of Coombeck, flanked by High Crag and High Stile. Continue on along the path. Ahead, with the ridge running up the front of it, is Fleetwith Pike. and around to the right of that is Haystacks. Haystacks, with its all-round stunning views, was a favourite of Alfred Wainwright, and his ashes are scattered up there on the top by innominate tarn. Alfred Wainwright, born in Blackburn, was a fell walker and meticulously wrote and illustrated 7 pictorial guides to the Lakeland Fells, which were probably responsible for the much increased tourism and popularity of the Lake District, which, in a way, is a little ironic, as Wainwright himself is mainly known as being reclusive, enjoyed his own time and space, and was said to be a little antisocial. That said, his books do show him more as a man who passionately cared for the landscape. The various editions of the pictorial guide are said to have sold over 2 million copies and have long been a favourite of mine, so we've included a link in the description below to the updated version. Over to the left here you can see the wooden bridge we will shortly be walking over, with Littledale Edge behind it as it heads up onto Robinson. Head down to and pass through the wooden kissing gate, and then head along the stony track. From this wooden bridge, named Peggy's Bridge on the OS map, you can see back down the length of Buttermere. Over to the right are Herdwick sheep grazing in the field. The Herdwicks are extremely hardy and are native to the Lake District. The name Herdwick is derived from the Old Norse Herdvik, meaning sheep pasture, and is believed to date in this area from the 12th century. Just before reaching Gatesgarth Farm, we'll take one last look left down the full length of the lake. Continue on towards Gatesgarth Farm, pass through the wooden gate and along a fenced footpath to pass out through a further wooden gate. Here there is another pay and display car park, so if the parking in Buttermere is busy, which it can be in the summer months and at weekends, you can start the walk from here. Turn left now onto the road and then walk along the road for about 500 metres. Whilst you are meant to face oncoming traffic road walking and consider crossing on a sharp bend, I did the opposite here though, as I was trying to avoid the sheet ice on the road. As the road starts to bend around to the left, leave the road on the gravel footpath and follow the Buttermere Village 1.5 miles sign. The footpath on this side of the lake, while still quite good and easy to follow, isn't as flat as the footpath on the far side and gets more uneven as we get nearer to Buttermere. Pass through the wooden gate. As the path pulls in beside the shoreline, ahead on the other side is Coombeck, again flanked on the left by High Crag with High Stile to the right, and then as we swing around to the left you can see Haystacks, and then around to Fleetwith Pike. Continue along the lakeside path and pass through a metal gate. If you have any thoughts about this walk that you'd like to share with us, or find any issues with any of the footpaths used, please share that down below in the comments. Head on to and pass through the next wooden gate, and then continue on as the path starts to get a little rougher underfoot. Pass through the next gate, pass through the short tunnel cut into the rock, which allows an easier onward passage. Pass through the wooden kissing gate. The noise in the background is the tree cutting that is going on the far side of the lake. Pass through the next kissing gate. If you are new to hiking or just want ideas for what walking gear to wear and take on the walk, check out our kit list recommendations down in the description below. Pass through the next wooden gate, then continue on to pass over a wooden footbridge. Pass through the next wooden gate. Just through this gate you could, if you wanted, take the left hand path to head along the northern shore of the lake, and in about 400 metres meet up with the outward path where we first arrived at the lake. You can then reverse that part of the outward route. We are though just going to go straight on here. Pass through the wooden kissing gate and then on over the stone flags by the side of the wall, following the path around to the left and then up to the right alongside the fence to pass through the next wooden gate. Continue on along by the side of the fence and then pass through the wooden gate and turn left along the path across the field. Upon reaching the farmyard, pass through the two wooden gates on along the track and a little bit of road to quickly reach Syke farm tea room. As we are almost back at the start, this is the first of the places you can eat and drink after the walk. As it was cold and a coffee was needed, I did venture inside, but the coffee did morph into a highly recommended homemade steak pie and gravy. Syke farm tea room is also dog friendly. Just before we head back left, you can make a short detour up to the right to visit the Church of St James, which houses a memorial to Wainwright. At the entrance there's a wrought iron shepherd's gate. And then, on the window ledge on the right, is a stone plaque commemorating Wainwright. With a view through the window back up to Haystacks. Head back down the road. Over to the left, you can see the tea room we just visited with the additional outside seating. Follow the road past this and ahead you'll reach the Bridge Hotel. The Bridge Hotel has accommodation, serves food and drink, and is also dog friendly. Around the back of it is the Walker's Bar, not named after fell walkers but after Reverend Robert Walker, who obtained a beer licence in around 1734 and founded the Bridge Inn. Also around the back is a beer garden. Just across from that is the Croft House Farm Cafe. It serves food, cakes, drinks and is dog friendly in the extension around the back. Across from the Croft House Farm Cafe we arrive back at the start at the Buttermere Court Hotel. The bar entrance is down the side and again it serves food, drink and is dog friendly. If the weather allows there is also a spacious beer garden around the back with wonderful views. Just before ending today's walk, we've put together a short fly-through created using the Ordnance Survey app, the link for which is in the description below, to show you where you've been and give the area more perspective. The walk started from the Buttermere Court Hotel and then headed down to the northern shore of Buttermere. We then took a very short diversion to have a look at Sourmilk Gill before heading down the western side of the lake. We stopped briefly to look up to the right at Coombe Beck, High Crag and High Stile before turning left to head over towards Gatesgarth farm. We turned left at the farm along the road and then left the road to head along the eastern shore of the lake. After passing through a gate, this is where you could have gone left to follow the northern shoreline and join the outward route. We just kept straight on back into Buttermere. Upon meeting the road, we had a short diversion up to the church before returning back to the start. That ends our walk for today.